All right, everybody, Black Culture Podcast. We are back with another one. I am the Willie Ashford. That's my man, Price. Talk to the people, Price.
Bro, hell of a topic.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell
Look,
of a
yeah.
topic this week, man. And I think it's gonna be trending for a long time. Um,
Mhm.
One of those things is tricky, but it needs to be said. Um, R. Kelly.
Are we calling him R. Kelly or are we calling him? I'm referring to him as Robert through this whole thing
Why are you referring to him as Robert? You ain't never called him Robert here.
because because Robert and R. Kelly are two different people.
Are they though? Are they?
I'll explain why when we get into it, but his brother related, he said it. One was a monster, one was just a regular person. And I'll get into that when I get into my topic. But first off, before you get into it, as always, we're going to want to thank the people. We want to thank the subscribers. We want to thank the people that have shared our videos. Thank you all. The comments, the likes. Continue to subscribe. So please, we're trying to reach our goal to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please help us do that. Tell a friend. You also can listen to us and stream us on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that time. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow
And
us
if you
on
want
Facebook.
exclusive content, sorry to cut you
No,
off,
go
bro. I
ahead.
just wanted to throw in our Patreon because people are starting to sign up for that. If you want exclusive content stuff we don't talk about on here, go ahead and sign up for that too.
Yeah, so please do that, man. Please do that. And again, we appreciate it. But so listen, before we get into this topic, I just want to put this disclaimer. What we talk about in this episode is not to shame anyone. Um, I want to send my condolences to the victims, to everyone that was involved, families, everyone lives that was impacted by this. I can't say I know how you feel because obviously I don't, but I am praying for you guys, and I hope that God will bless you guys from here on out, and you guys will at least get something back that you was taken from me. But again, I just shout out to the victims for coming out, being able to speak up, finding the courage to finally say no more. So I know that wasn't hard. I have a daughter, so this kind of hits different for me. A little touchy, but we're gonna get through this, man. So Robert Kelly. As you know, he was just convicted on how many counts?
So I'm gonna go ahead and read them off to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you want to call him Robert? All right, Robert Kelly. And one thing I want to get to, man, is that his behavior, the allegations, the indictments dates back to the 90s, but we're gonna get to that in a second. So federal trial began as scheduled on August 18, 2021. So after weeks of testimony and entry of evidence, and after 2 days of deliberations on September 27, 2021, the jury found Kelly guilty on 9 counts, including racketeering, sexual exploitation of a child, kidnapping, bribery, sex trafficking, and a violation of the Mann Act. Judge ordered that Kelly remain in custody pending sentencing, which was set for May 4th, 2022. So that's what just happened. Today is October 1st. So that was just a few days ago, September 27th, which was literally Monday. Yeah, the whole world is up in arms. A lot of applause. This has been a more than 20-year effort, really. But Willie, I know you got some thoughts on this. We've talked about it quite a bit, and definitely want you to be able to share your thoughts, man.
So first off, first thing I want to say is we have a video out on our page. Go check that out. Actually, it's two of them. It's called Accountability in the Black Community, and the other one's called Are Black People Held Accountable? Pause this, go watch that, then come back here. And it's so It's so crazy. It all makes sense. Trust me. Pause this video. Go watch those two videos. They're very, very short videos, and then come back here. Because these allegations started in the 90s. And from what I noticed just a circle of things that was continuing to be said in that video was people around him saying, I noticed things. I noticed this. I noticed that. And it just was like, yo, y'all, this is a grown man. You see this man's behavior and you just didn't say nothing. Like it was said that he would send his security, his people around him to give his numbers to underage girls. Now, even after he was convicted, well, he wasn't found guilty after that, you still continue to do that. Why? Because he's paying you. He's the ticket. So now you're protecting him. He was not held accountable by anybody around him. He had a bunch of yes people around him. And my thing is this, all of those people that were there on that video that were around him, it's so funny because they try to flip it to the parents now. They try to, and we'll get to that. But they try to, instead of taking responsibility on themselves, they say, yeah, I should have did this, but no, it's no but. Just say, I should have did this. I should have said something, because I guarantee you, if that was your niece, your daughter, or close family member, and he said, hey, go give her my number, you would have been ready to whoop his behind. I guarantee it. If it was somebody that was close to you. So, and this is what I'm talking about, like holding each other accountable. Like, think about the lives that would have been saved, affected. Not even, think about this. We only see the women that have came out. Imagine the women that haven't even said nothing. Because he paid a lot of women off not to say nothing. It was in the documentary. So imagine, we just know the ones we seen on the documentary. Imagine the ones that we don't even know about. So if you hold him accountable, step to him, say, hey, bro, you tripping. Or listen, man, no grown man should be doing anything with an underage child. No grown person should be doing anything with an underage child. Let's take gender out of it. No grown woman, no grown man should be doing anything with a child. And to me, when I seen that, it just took me back to when I talk about accountability, because nobody, just because of who he was, he's taking care of you, he's paying your bills, despite seeing him do dirty, seeing him do things that we all know right from wrong. To seeing him do things that is not right, you don't say anything. You protect him. And to me, that didn't sit well with me. And to me, I looked at it like, man, so many lives could not have been affected if you had just came out and said something. And it just go back to accountability in our community. No standard, no morals, like no dignity. Like you just let this happen. And to me, I want to tell people, get off the parents. Like, leave the parents alone. Like, now it's easy right now to say, well, the parents should have did this, and the parents should have did that, this, that, or third. It's easy to say that now. Right now, I don't think, this is just me. Right now, I don't think we need to be focused on that. I think we need to be focused on, it was people that was hurt. Like, it was people that are literally, I don't think people really understand how a young kid's mind is brainwashed. It's a reason why he picked a certain age. It's a reason why he did that. Everything starts with the mind. If you can control the mind, you can get them to do anything you want. He had women turning against their parents. Why? Because he got them at a young age and he fed them lies. And to me, again, it goes all back to accountability. Robert, I slipped up, my bad. Robert was in some Black communities, he was a god of music. He was a legend. So you don't want to see your idol or your favorite. You don't want to believe that they're doing something wrong. You don't want to believe that. That's the last thing you want to think. No, not him. Great talent, man. One of the greatest singers in, like, talent is undeniable. That's not a question. But we have to look past that and we have to look at the person, because I'm going to say this and I'm going to pass it to my partner. In the documentary, this was right after his first album. What was his first album? Was it one, not 12 step, something like that, whatever.
Play, bro.
12 play, yeah, whatever. First album, right? His brother said he was sitting in a room. His brother said he was sitting in a room and he looked up at the poster of that album. It was on his wall. He said Robert looked at him. He was like, man, he's like, that dude right there. He like, that dude's a motherfucker right there. He was like, what are you talking about? That's you? He like, no, R. Kelly. He like, man, R. Kelly, he's a bad MFer. He's a bad dude. He make me do things. He make Robert do things that Robert don't want to do. Now, to some people, like when I really broke that down, I'm like, wow, like think about it. And that's why I said R. Kelly and Robert are two different people. He looked at it.
Can you explain the difference? What's the difference between R. Kelly and Robert Kelly?
R. Kelly is what we see, the fame, the glorified musician, the bigger than life. He thought he was God. R. Kelly is what we see, but Robert is what his family know, the people around him know. Because a lot of people said, man, I just remember a 15-year-old loving kid that was shy, that wanted to help people do this. But once he got that fame, once he got that light and he got power, the demons that he had in the past, the things that he went through, because we don't believe in getting help in our community, we don't believe in getting counseling or talk about things, those and me come over. Now you have access to do whatever you want to do now. And just seeing him say, man, that dude, R. Kelly, he like, oh man, R. Kelly, that dude made me do things I don't want to do. He like, that's a bad dude. He can do whatever he want to do. And his brother said he was saying that in tears. Like he was hurt looking at him, like looking at that.
Wow. Man, I had a question for you, Willie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, so you got Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and now R. Kelly. And many more that we don't know about, right? And so all of these guys have something in common. They're entertainers, celebrities. Two of them are black. Because I'm, as you were talking, I was thinking in my mind, like, what if R. Kelly was white and the girl was black? What would have been the outcome of that? But okay, so we got these three gentlemen, and I think it's setting a precedent where, and you hear stories about artists. For instance, I heard Ashanti, and she said, you know, somebody tried to come at her like that, but she had older brothers. And so she got her older brothers to set dude straight. She said, I'm not about that. And Charlamagne asked her, is like, well, what do you tell the girl who don't have older brothers that they can run to? And so my question is this. As a father, number one, what should we be teaching our daughters? As brothers, how should we be looking out for our sisters? And just as men, black men specifically, how should we be protecting our women? And that's like three questions, but I think you get it.
So I'll start with the first one. As fathers, how should we be teaching our daughters? Man, this is why more than ever it's important you start talking to your kids at a young age. As soon as they can understand anything, you need to start talking to them. Speak life into them. Tell them, my wife started doing this to my daughter the minute she was born at night, just a baby, whispering in her ear, you're beautiful. You can accomplish anything. To this day, my daughter's 4 years old. We still do that because a lot of those girls, they stories were similar. They didn't feel like they were loved. They didn't feel like they had anyone. So it was easy. The first sign of a man showing them attention or love, they flock to that. So I think we have to protect our girls. Let them know that you are loved. You are beautiful. You can accomplish anything. You don't need to go do certain things, or you don't need to. It's in the world we live in now, where you have the modern day woman. It's kind of, you have to. It's a line, because we talked about the woman that feel like they don't need a man. But you kind of at a young age, you kind of have to, in a way, put that, install that in your daughter, so you don't ever feel like you need a man to accomplish anything, or you have to depend on a man. Like, get up and do it. You can do it. Like, you don't need. And I think a lot of those women, they were abused, and he triggered certain ones. Like, it's only thing I can say, man, to protect your daughters, man. You gotta talk to them. You gotta keep it real with them. Don't sugarcoat it. Let them know, like, it's certain type of guys out here. It's certain type of people out here, like, that will use you. If I remember I was taught when I was young. I would hear my auntie talking to my little cousin, my female cousin. Don't sit on a man's lap. Don't do this with a man. Don't do. It's like that stuff still matters. So they know the first sign of, hey, this is inappropriate. They got to run back, come tell me. Like, you have to let them know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Got to watch who they're around.
So with that being said, then what should we be teaching our boys?
Respect. First thing, how to carry themselves, because right now, I show my boys it's a way you have to carry yourself. Don't give anyone a reason to even think that you are what they think you are. Carry yourself. Look nice. Brush your hair. The way you talk. The way you carry yourself, right? Teach them respect. First off, you have to respect yourself. Teach them how to respect yourself first. Demand respect. Give respect. It starts with respect, because and it starts with the parent too. Like, if my boys see me around here talking to my wife or my daughter any type of way, what they gonna think, Price?
Well, they may think a number of things, but subconsciously it'll make its way into their behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for our boys, you have to watch this around, to watch who they're hanging around, because we said this before. You only around your kids so much. The way you're teaching your kids may not be the way that neighbor is teaching their kids. So they may be going somewhere being influenced by something else. So you have to build that in them. And I don't want to say the word program, but you all kind of have to program it into thinking the way.
Say
like,
it.
Hey,
I mean, because that's real. I mean, we're going to be programmed one way or the other.
Yeah. So you have to program them to know, nah, that ain't the way. That's not how I was taught. Nah, I can't go over there and do that.
So I'm curious, because we do live in a society where you have women saying, I don't need, and let's just be honest, from where we sit, we don't see a lot of other cultures saying that except ours.
Yeah.
But you don't hear the men saying, I don't need a woman. Right. That mindset, that mentality is passed down from older woman to younger woman. That's why they're believing that, saying, I'm independent, I'm a boss bitch, all this type of, you don't hear that from other cultures. So that interaction between our cultures, and we getting back to R. Kelly, I just wanted to ask you this. When it comes to the interaction of our boys, because I know, and I know you were born in the 90s, but during the 90s, bro, some of the stuff we were doing as it pertains to girls our age was completely disrespectful, right? But the culture was allowing that. And when in the 90s was right around the same time, and I was just reading it, when R. Kelly married a 15-year-old Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Right? That was in 94. But that's when that whole trend, and this is why I want us to have that conversation about hip hop, because that whole trend of hip hop in the 80s and hip hop in the 90s is completely different as far as sound and lyrics. That's when money, cash, hoes really became mainstream hip hop. And by the time we're in the 2000s all the way up until now, it is hip hop. The positive stuff, you don't hear that. You got like maybe a few J. Cole, Kendrick, Sean sometimes, but for the most part, it's money, cash, hoes. Mm-hmm. And so these kids are listening to that. And so how do you counter that to and I remember Usher said this. He said, you got to raise children as future adults. You can't just treat them as kids. But who they are to become. They learn that at a young age. So you have young girls. I'm not going to even talk about the young ladies in R. Kelly's that happen to them that are victims, not specifically those types of girls. I'm talking about girls who are consciously making a choice to be single mothers, consciously making a choice to be with dudes who at some point you got to realize this dude isn't good for you, but you keep running into the same type of dude. Consciously thinking that they don't need a man, right? This isn't something that that guy is doing to you. This is something that you're allowing. On the flip side of that, you got guys who target women who are like that. So my question specifically to you as a father, what do you teach your boys? I know what you're going to teach your daughter, but what do you teach your boys so that they don't make that mistake of just becoming that guy? You know what I'm saying?
I just recently had a conversation with my oldest about staying out of certain conversations. He's getting to the age where he's hanging around his friends in school, practice after practice. And I just let him know certain conversations you don't want to be a part of. Don't be a part of a conversation where they're talking about disrespectful things to girls. Don't be a part of a conversation where they're talking about different body parts of women. I'm like, because if anything ever comes up or she hears about it, you don't want to be attached to that. All you have, and I told him this, I'm like, remember one thing in this world. Anything that happens, the first thing they're going to do is look back at your history. Make sure when they look back at your history that you have a clean sheet. So they can't say, well, we saw here in the 5th grade or in high school, you did such and such. Like, all you have is your name. Keep your name clean. Keep your name clean. When I get pulled over, they pull up my name, nothing pops up. Because I didn't put myself in situations. And yes, I told him, like, things you do now may not affect you now. What you do at 20 may not affect you at 25.
Yo, say that again. At 30. Say that again, because that's cold. Things you do now might not affect you now.
They may not affect, things you do now may not affect you now. What you do at 21, you thought you got away with it, woo, off the hook. Might come 35. And they might look back at that. Well, we saw here when you were 21. I was 21. The first thing they're going for is that history, dog, because they need something on you. They need to be able to paint a picture of why this black man, why we're trying to get him for what he did at 35. The first thing you're going to do is look at your past history. Make sure that your history books are clean. Make sure there ain't no dust on them joints. Matter of fact, make sure it is dust on them, because that means they ain't been pulled out. Make sure it is dust on them. So that's that's what I'm teaching my boys now. Keep your name clean. Do not be involved in, what not to be involved in. I'm going to show you. I'm telling you, if this conversation is going on, if your friends say, hey, let's go do this. No, y'all can go. I'm going over here. I'm going to go play football. Y'all go do that. I'm going to go read this book. Y'all go do that.
Yeah, man, because it's unfortunate that you don't have to be the one committing the crime or whatever act.
By associations, bro.
And we all know how they love to convict very easily based on that association. Let's get into the topic that you brought up that I think is probably the most important going forward, and that's accountability. You were talking about how the people who were close to him, what were they doing? Right? Because if you got any type of morals or values or decency, you wouldn't have allowed that to continue. You would have checked him. You can fire me or whatever you want to do, but I can't be a part of this. But you said something the other day, and I wanted you to get into that a little bit. About accountability, because we were talking about not just what happened to him, but dudes who be sitting outside in their cars at high schools and libraries, and you know what I'm saying? It's just like, so where are the men and the adults who are basically stopping that behavior and making it known you can't come around here with that.
First off, bro, could you imagine a grown man coming up to you telling you to give a 13-year-old their number?
Absolutely not.
Like, for him to even be comfortable with telling one of his boys to do that, show you what type of people he had around you, and he knew what type of people he had around him.
Here's what's funny about that, and I gotta say this just because we got a lot of people that watch our videos, and some folks know their history. I know history. You also know history. Unfortunately, at one time in history, even in this country, that was completely legal, right? Somebody, and I don't specifically know who it was, maybe you guys in the comment section can tell me, realize 13 and 14 is too young. Like, first off, girls' bodies don't even stop developing until they're about 15, 16, but their mind is still. So them going to school, going to college, that allows them to mature in a certain way. Hopefully they come from a good household, they make their own decisions. But, you know, at one point, 13, like you got married very young. You got married when you were 13, 14. Why? Because you just went through puberty. So now you can have kids, because that's all women were. They were technically property. So a lot of the feminism and equality trending that's going on now, there's a long history of that. Like, women and men, that whole equality thing, that's been going on longer than racism. It really has. That's been going on for thousands of years. And we as a society, and this is more of a Western society, really got to the point where, and some people might disagree with whatever culture you come from. I'm not saying what your culture should be, but we're conditioned to realize, because boys don't even stop growing until they're about 21, right? We're conditioned now to realize, you know, especially in the modern world that we live in, that a young girl, 13, 14, you know, basically influenced her thinking to a certain level where she's more of a burden to you after a certain point than she can be an asset. So yeah, but yeah, me 2021 seeing a grown ass man in his 20s talking to a 13-year-old girl, that's something I've honestly never witnessed, and that's something that I would feel very uncomfortable about, whether she was my daughter or not.
You brought up earlier about, man, so they said in the documentary he would go hang out at his high school. I graduated high school in 2010, so I started high school 2006, 7, somewhere in there. Bro, that was normal. Like,
to see dudes outside,
to see grown dudes that just graduated, 18, 19, 20, 21, on coming back, hanging outside the library, talking to the freshmen, the sophomores. They will get to freshmen before they get to seniors. You may catch a senior that's 18. No, they're going for the freshmen and sophomores.
That's crazy, bro. Like, okay, I can understand this.
You know how I know? I was dating one, and she started dating a grown dude. But as a kid, like at that point, I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm thinking, dang, like maybe that's just how it is. Like, but as I got older, I was like, man, dude, that's fucked up. That's not how it is. But no, that's and I guarantee you, it still goes on to this day, bro.
Man, it's funny. When I left high school, I didn't want to go back for any reason.
Man, listen, my high school I went to, my kids play football there, right? And I was just there this weekend, and I always tell the coaches, I said, man, when I came and got my diploma from here, I said I'd never step foot on these grounds, and I find myself here every weekend now for football games.
Bro, I was pissed that I had to. So my 11th and 12th grade year, I was completely off focus. So I ended up having to go to summer school to graduate. Do you know how it felt having 90% of my class graduating in June when they were supposed to? I had to go to summer school for 2 months, and I didn't get to graduate till damn near August. Like, do you know how that felt having to be in that school for 2 more months? I never wanted to go back. But no, you're right, man. Like I've actually, when I was in high school, yeah, you would have girls talking to older dudes. But as an older dude, why would you want a young girl? Like, what is your mentality? I can understand, like,
Before you can
okay,
get her to do anything.
well, I'm gonna tell you this. I can understand if I'm a like if we're dating, like I'm a junior and you're a sophomore and we're dating and I end up graduating a year before you.
That's how it was when I was in high school for me. That's how it
Yeah.
was. I
So
graduated, and my girlfriend didn't graduate to the year after me.
that's understandable because y'all have been in a relationship and y'all were both in high school and y'all basically what, a year apart.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But for you to be 25, 26, 27 and talking to a girl that's 15, something is
Something off.
just not right. Yeah, because what that girl can do nothing for you. Absolutely. Like, I don't even know what kind of conversation you're gonna have with a
Bro,
15.
what you gonna talk about?
Like, by that point, you should have been graduated college, graduated grad school, unless you're gonna become a doctor and be in your career and be out going out downtown. And like she can't even get into the club. She can't even go to the bar and drink with you, bro. Like, and I'm not saying that should be the motivation, but y'all can't do the same things. She's not even done growing. Like, why would you want a woman that's not done growing? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you got dudes out here. So let's wrap this up. Accountability. What should be done?
I think the people involved should be guilty by association. I think his security, his secretary, everybody that knew it, you guilty too. You helped him. You're just as the monster, as much of a monster as he was.
You are an accomplice easily.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need jail time too. And
So,
I think as a culture, as a community, we have to stop being so quick. When one of us we're on this pedestal and some dirt comes out about us or they find us wrong, right? We have to stop being so quick to threaten and criticize the accuser because we all in this together. We have to stop doing that. It was so many of our people that said those girls was lying, they sluts, this and the third. We have to stop doing that. Like, I know we programmed to be against each other, but we have to stop doing that. We got to be able to, we have to protect all. Get to the bottom of it. It's like, we got to stop doing that, man. Go ahead.
no, you're right. 100%. And I'll say this is my last point. I always talk about culture and community versus money. Like, we shouldn't, our culture, our community, who we are should not be for sale.
Yep.
And so you were saying he was just offer the girls some money. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. You go to 2/3 of the rest of the world, our hood is like a palace to them. We got our own bathrooms, we got our own kitchens, we got running water, we got electricity, we have government programs to help you pay bills and to buy food and to pay rent. You can go to the library and read books. You have public transportation. I mean, all the things that we have. And I think as Americans, just period, American culture is very arrogant and spoiled. So we never think anything is enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bro, we have everything we need.
Yeah.
We literally have everything we need. And we have the opportunities to get more. The reason why I say that is because the common denominator in a lot of these cases is because of what a girl was offered. One of the things I think should be done, and this is why they want to lock a lot of us up so the fathers won't be there, but if a girl feels secure, right, she doesn't have to come from a whole lot of money. Just look at other ethnicities and communities. You can't buy them the way you can buy us. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you're not going to be in a sense struck by stardom, because I think we all kind of have some of that, but you'll think twice before dishonoring your community, dishonoring your parents, dishonoring your culture before just going with someone else. And that father should have been the one to say no.
Yeah.
That mother should have been the one to say no. Like you said, dudes, talk game was real good, but you can't buy my daughter. There is no price for her. And if I do decide to let you produce her, I'm gonna be right there watching you the whole time, like a hawk. And as far as the community, man, we need a lot of the males in the community. Look, you got a lot. You
got a responsibility, bro.
Look, I think you want to be a gangster. Your number one responsibility is protect your community. That's your number one responsibility.
We don't protect our young either.
Well, unless they belong to us, unless they're related to us, or it's my dude's daughter just because it's his daughter. Yeah, I'm gonna do something. But no, we gotta act like everybody, because you will want somebody to do that for you. Like, as your children get older and you might not physically be there, you would want somebody to look out for them. Just like if my kids were in high school, I probably am gonna have somebody watching them. Look, Obama said this. He said, "I'm not worried about my girls because they got Secret Service, right?" So, but we should be the Secret Service of everybody in our community, and that really is what has to happen. I think a lot of this shit, Robert Kelly would have never got that off.
Yep. So I'm gonna leave him with a quote you said earlier, and it's gonna be the title of this. Think about if this was a guy in your community and he wasn't famous. What if Robert Kelly wasn't famous? You think that would the outcome be different? Don't answer it. I just want to leave y'all with that. What if he wasn't famous? Would he went 20, 30 years with getting away with this? Would he have gotten past? What if you heard? Because at the end of the day, a creep is a creep. Creep is a creep. What if you heard about the guy down the street from you just got married to a 15-year-old? Then what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Listen, go ahead. You take us out. I'm gonna drop the mic with that.
Hey, listen, I want to hear y'all or read y'all in the comment section. I want to see what y'all got to say about this, because I know there's a lot to be said about it. But once again, thank you guys for watching. We really enjoy making this for y'all. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. You can follow us.
Hit that notification button.
So every time we drop, you get notified instantly. So make sure you subscribe to us on Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeart podcast platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Hit the like button. Leave a comment below. I'm Price. That's my partner, the Willie Ashford. It's the Black Culture Podcast. Peace.